You know what time it is?
Corner 3.
Time for Robert O'Neill's Corner 3.
That's tremendous. That's extraordinary. I can't believe we're doing this for Robert O'Neill. Here we go.
Here we go, everybody. Robert O'Neill is here. Hello, Robert O'Neill.
What's up, guys?
That has been Robert O'Neill's Corner 3.
His three-pointer, bang!
It rules so hard. It's the best thing we've ever done. It's broke us both. It's all over. O'Neill is the star of the show. I was wrong all along. Man. You saw how over O'Neill was getting last week. Because last week, after O'Neill, we were done. Right? We were cooked.
O'Neill.
What's up?
You're late. You've been fined for showing up late. And your time has been cut.
Well, I don't think I'm late. It's 3 o'clock right now.
No, you're 30 seconds late. You've been fined. Show up on time, and you've lost 30 seconds. So this is Bob O'Neill's Corner 2.5. Your foot is on the line. Look, folks, if you're looking for Robert O'Neill's Corner 3, he's been fired. All right, he's been fired.
We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this.
We will. We have a new segment to debut, though. Right now, 4 o'clock. Here we go. Sean Ross Sapp's pull-up 3.
Pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good!
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. I was asked by Jeremy to do this and didn't want to do it, but you know what? It replaces Robert O'Neill on Fightful, so I decided to do it.
I have a line to be drawn here, okay? If Robert O'Neill is not on my screen at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the 18th of March, 2021. Where he belongs, Robert O'Neill's Corner 3, bang, okay? It's over, Jeremy. It is over.
And if you want to quit, if you want to put this entire show on Robert O'Neill showing up at 4 o'clock next week, fine. If that's what you want to do, Joseph, if you want to throw this entire 15-month run we've had away for Robert O'Neill being on time next week, that's on you.
Big Shot Bob is back. He's sitting in the corner. He's locked and loaded, ready to shoot that thing. Let's fire away, Jeremy. Let's fire away. Let's go.
Here we go. Robert O'Neill's Corner 3 is back.
His three-pointer, bang!
Hey, guys, it's me. Definitely not Sean Ross Sapp. It is absolutely Robert O'Neill, as stipulated by Joe Hulbert, as to stay on this show. I am as enthusiastic as Robert O'Neill possibly could be.
Do I look like a joke to you, Jeremy Lambert?
I got sick of it. Look, I completely got sick. I'm not going to lie. O'Neill not here this week because I smacked him in the face. I took the contract he had and all the arrangements. I smacked him over the head with it, Joseph. Knocked him out. And you know what I did, Joseph? Do you know what I did? After I knocked him out and he's laying there. Here's what I did to him, Joseph. Let me set this up for everybody. I hit him with the psychosis leg drop, Joseph. I got on top of the desk and I said, psychosis leg drop on, psychosis leg drop on, psychosis leg drop on, psychosis leg drop on.
He's going to need to be here next week. Because regardless of what leg drop you did, I'm firm in my position here. I want O'Neill in a new fancy hat. Brand new. One I have not seen before on O'Neill's head.
His three-pointer, bang!
Robert O'Neill's here. There we go. Hey, Robert O'Neill. What are you talking about?
Hey, guys. What's the bit? Robert O'Neill, here I am.
You got 3 minutes.
This is ridiculous. No, stop. This is not happening anymore.
I got 3 minutes, huh?
Joseph.
Sean Ross Sapp, that is you. That is not Robert O'Neill.
No.
You've been bullied by Jeremy Lambert again. And frankly, guys, I'm done with this, okay?
No.
I give you one more week. I'm out of here.
Joseph, you needed a guy in a hat.
We will never talk. There we go. You're back. We will never talk about this show again unless one of the following three things happen. Yeah. Feels like the road to WrestleManias.
This doesn't end on your terms. Soon, you will come face to face with everything you have ever done.
At the end. I'm here! Joseph, I'm here! I'm here. Fuck. Look at this, Joseph. Ladders? Fuck these ladders. Look, you got me in these negotiations with O'Neal, and it's been tough. It's been tough. That what you saw, a representation of the demons that have come out of me these past few weeks. You know, all of this started, Joseph. Remember when I was possessed and I coughed up black goo? It all started the week after O'Neal was on the show. There he is. Robert O'Neal. Wave.
Yeah.
Wave to everybody. Say hi. There you go, Joseph. He's here.
What's up, guys? And he's like, oh, I didn't need to. You know, I propped you up.
That has been Robert O'Neal's Corner 3.
His three-pointer, bang!
I told you, Joseph. He's back. Did the full 3 minutes live?
I'm tired of doing this song and dance and me getting angry and all. Like, I can't be mad right now. How can I be mad at you when the ink has dried, everything's set? Next week, a real star, Jack Crosby, CBS Sports, he's coming on.
All right, man. Yeah, so WrestleMania, you know, the women's tag match with the tag team.
That has been Robert O'Neal.
His three-pointer, bang! His three-pointer, bang!
Look, man, there was a time in my life before Jack Crosby was sitting across from me in a Britt Baker shirt, right? I got mad. I started slamming my fist. Dude, I just think that's perfect use of Bob.
Jeremy, did you get a chance to look over that new contract that I signed? Or
As of 4 p.m. Eastern on April 15th, 2021, Robert O'Neal is the new co-host of The Distraction.
I'm replacing you.
Replacing me?
Mm-hmm. So going forward, it'll be me and Jeremy hosting The Distraction.
Welcome, everyone, to The Distraction. This is not a bit. Robert O'Neal is here. We have graphics for him and everything. I did take liberties with the graphics because I have the ear of the graphics department, but I worked hard this weekend to try to get this whole thing settled, to try to get it all worked out. I couldn't do anything over the weekend. They said it's a legally binding contract. O'Neal is the co-host. Deal with it. Hi, Robert O'Neal. How are you?
I'm great, Jeremy. How you doing, man?
I'm terrible. He wants to come on and say goodbye. Can this happen, O'Neal? You're the boss, apparently, of this show now.
I think we owe that to him. I mean, he gave 1.5 years of good service here.
JJ says, I want the great Joe Hulbert. JJ, you know what? I'm overruling O'Neal here. He's trying to keep Joseph out of the picture. Joseph's here to say goodbye, everyone. Joseph, how are you, buddy?
Good evening, folks. Jeremy's a great host. Clearly, he's got through an hour of this thing, so he set this up for me. I will do what I have to do, but there's a slight kind of caveat, just change of plans here. As Rob knows better than anyone, things change real quick in the Distraction universe. And it is a universe at this point, guys, let me tell you. So before I came on here and said my goodbyes, and let's be honest, my apologies, I first had to go and talk to my friend and yours, Jeremy, not yours, Bob, Sean Rossap. He gave me this opportunity, right? He brought me in. I think I did a good job, but everything comes to an end. That's fine. So I actually made the trip, guys. I actually went to see at Fightful headquarters, the mansion, sat by the pool for a bit, waited for Sean, went to speak to him. It was Tuesday. So, we said, why don't we do this? We'll watch The Distraction. That'd be kind of neat, right? I'll watch you guys in your debut as a pair. And we sat there and the chat was kind of dwindling and people were upset. We started to fall asleep a little bit. And then Sean said, man, we need something. And he saw something in that moment. And it's hard for me to explain it or describe it to you, so I'll just show you. Just give me 1 second, guys. So he saw this, and for the longest, I've been saying that I'm the stunning Steve Austin of this show, right? Like I'm the mechanic. Now people don't realize how good I am, but I know how good I am. Well, in that case, it's 1995 and I'm in ECW right now. And Sean saw that in that moment. So, to follow up on Bob's point earlier today, this is important, okay? Because Bob gave me this when I was watching the show as a fan. He says, I provided good service, right? So here's my best service yet. Sean Ross Sapp needs the new Stone Cold. So, with that in mind, Hulbert 316 says, Bob O'Neill, you're out of here. You're fired. You're done. I'm back. There we go.
Sean's going to get credit for doing nothing.
Welcome to the Chaos Project year-end super extravaganza awards show. So we've already been giving out some awards, and no surprise, Chaos Project has been just taking everything pretty much like we always knew they would. Anyways, we got our 3 main awards left. Trois. For all you Spanish-speaking people out there. So, let's get to it. What's our next award? It is Best Tag Team in the World. Let's see who the winner is. I'm giddy with excitement. Best tag team in the world is... Who's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be? The Chaos Project! Did you bring an award? Alright. Awards. Winner of the Coca-Cola Tag Team of the Year Award. We are not sponsored by Coca-Cola. We will have to beep that out. Winner of the Pop Award, I guess. I don't know. Alright, our second to last award. Year-end award in April. Yeah, it's the Chaos Way. This is the Chaos Lair. We can do what we want. Winner of the Best Tag Team / Wrestler Entrances and Theme Songs. Winner, Best Entrance and Theme Songs of the Year. The Chaos Project. And Mikey Ruckus for such an amazing song. Woo! Award. Chaos Project, best theme song, best entrance. We just win, or we won a Griff Garrison. Is this Griff Garrison? Shh. It's a very big foot. You know what they say about men with big feet? Big boots. All right, our very last award, year-end awards. Chaos Project year-end awards here in the Chaos Lair. I'm excited. I'm giddy. Woo! This is our biggest award of the year. So this award is to the best wrestling podcast in the universe, hosted by people named Jeremy and Joe. Who could be the winner? Drum roll, please. Oh, that was nice. Oh. The winner is Best Wrestling Podcast in the Universe, hosted by hosts named Jeremy and Joe, the Destruction! And special surprise to both of you, you are now, from the Chaos Project, winners of this brand new luxury PS5 cable thingy. So that, yeah, let's keep that for us. We'll keep that over there for us, all right? But you guys just won a brand new cable thingy! Congratulations! Distraction! Woo! Chaos Project! Yeah!
Joseph,
Yes.
did you get your PS5 cable thingy?
No. I assume they wait for like it to brought air on television and such. I don't know. I haven't got it yet, Jeremy. No.
They sent you that. They sent me something different. Okay?
Oh no. Yes.
Hold on. I don't think I keep my headphones on.
Oh dear. Oh no.
It broke. Oh no. We got a banner, Joseph.
Okay, we allegedly have a banner.
We got a banner. I told you we were hanging banners.
This is. I need to stop Jeremy, folks. I apologise. I let him go on this without any kind of policing. There he is. Okay. Wow. Neat handwriting, those fellas. Literally hanging banners now. Wow.
Hanging banners, Joseph. I told you that's what we were doing.
I assume that means Bob O'Neill gets a ring. Perfect. That's it. Yeah, great. Wow. Folks, I don't know what to say.
I'm going to stay.
We're looking at nearly 20 minutes. I don't know.
Can I hang here in the distraction offices? And there we go, Joseph. We earned that banner. Tony Khan hanging his banners in the AEW arena. We got our own banners to hang.
Okay, hang on. Here's the thing with this, okay? Genuinely, when NBA teams hang their banners and recap the season in which they won the NBA title, it is infinitely shorter than what we just did. This was a level. This was a lack of humility and self-awareness of which even I sat here for a moment and thought, well, we really are fucking marks for ourselves, folks. I don't know what you want me to say. Jeremy, you just make this clear to the people. I had no idea what I was getting myself into today. Right? I had no clue. No idea. I came here like a pro in my first full show back on a Thursday. As Sean mentioned in the chat, new pay, big deal. Here I am. And this is what I say. I don't think you're ever going to top that, Jeremy. That was a 20-minute video.
I told everybody the first 20 minutes of the show. I warned everybody 20 minutes.
You did, but it still was striking, I don't know what I expected. I don't know, man. But it was fun. I guess we can talk about wrestling now. What do we do now?
Who cares?
I don't know. Well, Luther, it's just incredible. That's going to be a big-time tag match one day, isn't it? I mean, I'd rather it be an 8-man. We find 4 dipshits to beat up. But if we build to it, Jeremy, it's going to change the business. It's going to change the business.
Give me time. I'm doing this match. It didn't take any time to load up on StreamYard. It was actually, the video was too long to load up on StreamYard because you can only do 10-minute videos on StreamYard. So I shared, that was basically a share screen.
Wow.
Even StreamYard tried to warn me and was like, dude, this shit is too long. Are you sure this is what you want to do? And I'm like, do you know how much effort I put into cutting up all of these segments?
A lot of cuts. Yeah, there's a lot of cuts.
We spent like 2 months on this thing.
We did. I mean, after watching it, I'm not sure if that was a good or bad decision, but we did it. So there it is. I appreciate that you left my money promo like unclipped and uncut,
yes.
like a true Paul Heyman. You just leave Hulbert on that front. I appreciate it. Look, man. Look, if nothing else, like any other wrestling podcast, right? I mean, let's be fair about that much. I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing. Depends on how many of them you listen to. I think it's pretty good for us too. Anyway, I don't know. Jeremy, where do we go from here? We're only 20 minutes in. I mean, we're 20 minutes in. We can't just end the show.
If I could have made the video package the whole show, I would have. We've just not done a show.
Well, Just a full documentary with like inserts of wrestlers being like, I remember when I first saw it. I said when you was, doing the banner and all that good stuff, I mentioned here, like, that means Bob O'Neill gets a ring, right?
Yeah.
Next time Bob comes through, we have to give him the ring and everyone has to clap and pretend they liked him when he played here. Like Danny Green at the Staples Center, We have to do that whole deal. But nonetheless.
We got a lot of super chats. Everybody needs to send super chats because Sean has given us raises and we've earned it. I mean, we have a banner. You don't see a banner on Sean's show, do you? No. But Ryan says, going to tell my grandkids about the O'Neill arc, as you should. I know, JJ, you sent one in. The people were so enthralled by the video package presentation that it has been bumped. So JJ, send yours again. You obviously don't pay for it again, but send it again. 4.25 star recap video. Psychosis leg drop 10 out of 10. All this stuff. So I love you both. Always entertained. You make me laugh so much.
Nice. Just amazing.
Hey, Callahan, best bookers in the business. We got the banner to prove it. Yeah,
I agree with that much. See, I'm not here to fake humility. I'm just saying that you went above and beyond that. Like you were just like, let's just put ourselves over. So now we might as well do that for the rest of the show. But it was impressive, I must say.
Taxel says hanging banners. I told you guys we were going to hang banners. I told you.
This is our first one. Is this an annual thing? We're going to try to shoot for a banner each April?
Yes. Video package on Fightful scraps immediately. What are we talking about?
20 minutes long. I will say, Jeremy Lambert, I don't know watching it back if I think it was a good look or a bad look when I had long hair. It's only been like a week and it was already like, whoa, that's different.
I like the short hair. It was a little shocking at first, but I like it.
The thing is, I think, while we're just putting ourselves over and talking about how great we are, I do think you reach a certain level of sort of good looks and fame where it's like, I could come on with a mohawk, right? I could come on with the Sean Spears blondie and people are like, well, looks okay. Actually, I'm not going to risk that. I don't want to do that one. Okay. Jeremy, we are the distraction. Do we do wrestling talk or do you want to just do an hour of this? Because I can do an hour of this. Cool. You want to? What do you think?
One of my favorite big stars of the day as well. Best bookers in the business. AEW is solid. Well, Joseph, the thumbnail for this is Kenny Omega. So if you want to talk about more self-indulgent assholes, we can talk about Kenny Omega and his current run.
I feel like you could have gone with Don Callis for that.
I mean, him too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, both of them. So here's the thing. I don't want
to. It's a character. Nobody tell Kenny Omega I said that. Character. His character, he's a self-indulgent asshole, just like us. We're characters, right? This isn't actually us.
Sure. Whatever you say. So here's the thing. I do want to stress this, Jeremy, because I know that the Impact loyalists, the Mecca folks, they're already in our DMs. They say, when our guys had their biggest pay-per-view in 12 years, you opened the wrestling show with 20 minutes of video package for yourself. To which I say, yes, that is true. You're right. We did review Rebellion. So if you want detailed takes on that, it's come and gone on the Twitch. I will say, Jeremy, imagine talking about a show that took place Sunday when you could celebrate your own angle that took place last Thursday, right? Imagine doing that. But yes,
Kenny Omega's about to have a 20-minute in-ring celebration on Impact tonight. You telling me he won't?
I think it will be shorter than what we just did. I'm actually certain it will be. Yes, and then it'll be interrupted by Ed Edwards, and it'll be like a 7-minute segment. Don Callis, yeah, maybe. So speaking of such, I'll tell you what, Jeremy. Here's the deal. We're in a kind of celebratory mood here. But you texted me this morning. What do we want to talk about? Because I didn't know the opening, but you knew that I was showing up to talk about wrestling in some form or fashion. So you let me kind of shape the topics, which I appreciate. Even though the thumbnail is a complete self high five, so to speak, using DDP's terminology. Now, the one thing I did say to you was, I think we should discuss our friend Kenneth Omega and who he's working at the Double or Nothing. I know that you are no longer on Wednesday duty, but I'm going to continue this conversation like you've seen Dynamite.
I have seen Dynamite.
Good. Some interesting developments.
It ain't
the Hangman Page.
Right. I told you it wasn't going to be Hangman Page.
Yes. So now, in my view, we have 3 sort of feasible routes directly in front of us, okay? I'll go through them, and then we can go through each one individually. Number 1 is Brian Cage, because he won this match. It seems unlikely it's heel versus heel, but belt collector, FTW belt, you get the deal. Okay?
Yeah.
2 is Christian Cage. Going by the logic that he could now, with this Team Taz conflict, beat Brian Cage to cement himself as number 1 contender. Okay? And then, I don't expect either of those, but I'm also not sure I expect this third one, so we're in a bit of a weird position. The third one is Eddie, right? Because last night they seemingly...
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Eddie Kingston was seemingly like... They went somewhere with him as an individual this week on Dynamite before bringing them back as a team, him and Moxley. You and I have expected for the longest they're going to work the Young Bucks at the pay-per-view. But it does feel like it could be Eddie Kingston too. Which one are we thinking? Which one do you want? Which is the one that we're very scared of? I think I know the answers to that last one. But the other two, feel free to go where you want to go with it.
I still think it's Christian. I said it on the Twitch show. I think that Christian seems like the logical thing, that you can headline with that easily. They set that up. Christian's first Dynamite appearance. He's going to be winning matches. I don't think he's going to lose anytime soon. I mean, you just mentioned it. He beats Brian Cage, kind of solidifies himself as that number 1 contender. He gets the match. I'm with you in that it seemed like Eddie Kingston is the guy they're setting up based on last night, because Eddie's coming out and he's disgusted with himself because he's using the term bro to call out Kenny Omega, and he's beating up Michael Nakazawa. They're going to have the tag team match next week. I mean, Tozawa's taking that pinfall, I would assume, and if Kingston gets that pinfall, I mean, he'll have a tag team victory over Kenny Omega. It seems like that's the way they're setting up. I think they maybe do like a Dynamite match with that, and I think they go with Christian.
It does seem like the natural conclusion for Eddie is teaming with Mox to win the tag titles to me, and putting the Young Bucks in their place as these kind of arrogant heels. My concern with the Young Bucks is that now that they're fully fledged heels, they see this as like the start of their reign, which scares me a little bit. But the idea that in their minds, not even in their minds, in Tony Khan's mind, it's like you can't beat the Young Bucks. They're like brand new. They just turned heel. That seems ominous. I've booked them to lose those tag titles at least like 15 times. So that's something to consider. It feels like Moxie needs some kind of revenge on these guys, though, and the tag titles is the way to do it, because I don't want to see him wrestle Kenny again. And I don't think anyone does at this point. Give it some time at least. So I think Christian is the choice they're going with, and I actually think it's the best choice too, to be honest. I do think it will require like a good supporting cast in terms of matches, not just in terms of flinging guys on it. I think you need some good matches. But Kingston it feels like he needs more singles wins and stuff, To me, anyway. I mean, I love Eddie Kingston. So if it's him, I'm not going to complain. But I can't remember the last signature singles win he got at all, let alone on Dynamite. So
has he won a singles match on Dynamite? Like, legitimately?
He beat Seidel before the Moxley match. He beat Archer this year. Other than that, I feel like he's only had... Yeah, he beat him with the loaded fist deal. Remember they give him the brass knucks? I feel like he's only... Honestly, he may have wrestled like 5 singles matches on Dynamite. It is different. But, yeah, I feel like Christian... Because what is the Team Taz pay-per-view match for Christian? Brian Cage?
Get that on TV.
Just try and piece this together, okay? 'Cause I think Dynamite has been, spectacular. But it doesn't really appear to be building, particularly not logically is the wrong word, because it could end up being very logical, but it isn't like a super coherent, this is clearly the end game, which is fine as long as they know it, which I think they do. So if we're going with Christian and Kenny on top, Bucks and Mox and King second, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that's cool. I think we all think Britt and Sheeta's next down. That's perfect. That one actually I think has been really nice and steady, they're headed there and it's obvious. So that's cool. Then I'm looking, what the hell are they building to with this Sting, Archer, Ethan Page, Scott? What is that match? Like a 6-man? I don't know.
I have no idea what they're doing there. Darby's just defending his title, which is great, but I'm not sure who they're actually setting up to take the title from him, unless he's going to lose it in a multi-man match. But I don't know if they're going to do that. I mean, is Archer going to take the title? from him? I kind of think that's almost the direction, is Archer takes the title.
Maybe. They're doing something with Archer and Sting.
Well, Darby's got to factor in there somehow, right? You would
Who
think.
could be the third heel?
Are they doing Darby and Sting against Jake and Archer in some type of cinematic thing?
Yeah, I thought they were until this. Like, you don't have Ethan Page and Scorpio like chop block Sting, without that. You have some. They're obviously involved in this somehow. And now I almost think the angle is instead Sting taking Lance away from Jake, who is like kind of a piece of shit, right? I think it's the idea of the angle. Talking characters here, folks, as Jeremy pointed out earlier. Like, I know that Cody spoke about the idea of Sting wrestling, right? A 6-man tag is a good way to do that if you want to do it. So we have Archer, Darby, Sting. Who could be our third heel to go with Scorpio and Ethan Page? Do we have one?
What if it's Miro? I think Miro at some point Darby does beat Archer. Because isn't that a story like Archer's got like multiple victories over him? Like that's the one guy that Darby can't conquer? Or am I completely misremembering that?
I think you're misremembering. I don't think they've worked.
Oh, all right. Oh, I'm thinking Cody.
No,
He beat Cody. No. I think that was something I fantasy booked in my TEW series or something.
Very fair. That's very fair. I respect it. Carry on.
I think Miro wins. They're going to do some ladder match gimmick. Like they love the casino battle royal. They'll do that. Like I think Miro wins that thing and earns some type of TNT title shot.
Yes, because the thing with Miro is now that he's doing this stuff with Kit where he's like a lunatic, you don't want to then just put him with 2 other heels, right? So it's like he's got to be assassin Miro like on his own, really. So I don't know. It's a weird one. So that one's kind of mystery. Where are we going with the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle for the pay-per-view?
See, I almost think they're just off the pay-per-view. I know that would be a weird call, but I mean, after Blood and Guts, you can't run that match back, can you? Unless you're going to do a Stadium Stampede gimmick again. But that feels like a step back from Blood and Guts. Like Blood and Guts is a blow-off of everything.
Yes, but it feels here like they, for right or wrong, I think they see the blow-off as Chris and MJF.
Yeah.
In like, and that could be any kind of match. Last man standing, whatever. In an ideal world, when I'm looking at what we potentially got here, I would love for them to find a spot for FTR versus PMP on that show. Yeah. Because I do like the thing, and I know that I said to you we'll talk about Blood and Guts, so we'll get into that soon, but I do like the thing of each individual like piece of the factions squaring off with each other. But you don't do that after Blood and Guts, is your point. It's the blow-off. I don't know. It's been unconventional in that regard because it's a new faction against a recently turned faction, so it's kind of different. I'm going to assume Chris and MJF is the pay-per-view match, okay? And that leaves us with what? That's like 5 matches we've got there? 4 or 5 matches? So, I mean, what else are they doing? You got the Factory against the Nightmare Family. They're going to do something, right? I mean, Cody's going to be on that thing.
Cody's facing QT like next week, right?
Right. So do we think they're going to do a Stadium Stampede potentially at the pay-per-view?
I don't know if Cody wants to be involved in that. He wasn't involved in the thing last year.
No,
I just don't know if he wants to do that. I don't know what Cody wants to do. He wants to do a lot of stuff, and sometimes it doesn't always make sense.
It's interesting, right? Like I think the reason it's particularly interesting in this round is 2 of their last 3 pay-per-views have been good. Just good. And yes, it is a big kind of, it speaks to modern wrestling, the idea of a good pay-per-view being disappointing is like weird. But let's be honest, man, like these things are expensive in the modern landscape. So when you've had 2 of the last 3 not be that impressive as pay-per-views, is it a little bit misplaced of them, ill-informed of them to not change their approach? Because last time I remember us talking and saying it doesn't feel like the culmination, it just feels like they've picked some matches out for the stuff they do on TV. Kind of feels like we're headed the same way. So it'll be really interesting. I know I'm rambling, guys, but it'll be interesting if when we review Double or Nothing, we're left sitting there again being like, it's not really matching the quality of the TV. at that point, it feels like this approach needs to change. Because right now, we're a month away, and you and I are like scrambling to figure out what the actual matches are on this thing, which again isn't a problem, but it's something to it.
It's tough to match the quality of AEW television because they literally do a million things on their TV shows, and you can just get great matches on AEW television. They did a Young Bucks against Pac and Phoenix match. By the way, where's like Pac fitting in? Where's Phoenix fitting in? Where's Penta? Are they going to do Death Triangle? I think they're going to do Death Triangle against Best Friends, right?
Yeah,
they're going to do that match. But like they just did that match on free TV, and people are like, it's one of the greatest tag team matches ever. So when you're just doing this stuff on free TV, you come to the pay-per-view, it's like it has to be blow-off stuff. Like it has to be, like you said, like the culmination of something. And especially last pay-per-view, it just didn't feel like the culmination of anything. And so it felt weaker. Even though like the wrestling was good and everything, it didn't feel like this was the peak of all of these stories.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like it's been pointed out in the chat, and it's true. You know, we do have to remind ourselves, yes, of course, their core primary revenue source is TNT and television, right? And we understand exchange, but at the end of the day, it's still a big four system where you're expecting around 100,000 people, ideally more, to pay. How much is it, Jeremy? $40 around there?
Yeah, I think it's 50. I think it's $49.99. Yeah.
So it's like, while clearly the television is your priority in terms of overall, you don't want to kind of whittle away that 100,000, 120,000, right? Like you want to have them people pumped for the next one. The last one ended, and it was very much about, it was kind of one of those things of like, And it wasn't, people can say it was not just the angle going wrong with the explosion. It wasn't. It just wasn't a great show. It was a good show. And again, there's nothing wrong with good shows, but at this point, $50, people want, they want the epics. They want the kind of the classics, which I think you got to full gear. So it's difficult. I do think this is kind of a draw a line in the sand moment of like, if this works out, and Double or Nothing is a great show, it's not a matter of the approach. It's just they had some tough luck on those two of those last three. With just like some matches not going to be perfect, right? It happens. It's fun. If again though we end up with like multi-mans that don't need to be on there, a battle royal that doesn't need to be on there, and it's just kind of good after all-time television, I do think it's time for them to kind of look and be like, can we adjust some things maybe? I don't know. I guess time will tell. Now, on that point, Jeremy, before I move on, do you have anything else to say about the pay-per-view build system in AEW?
I think with 4 pay-per-views, you've got to make them mean something, right? Like, I understand your weekly or your monthly pay-per-views, it can be a little bit tougher. But like with 4 pay-per-views, it should be building to big matches. And I understand they are more of a television company, and that's why they're doing stuff like Blood and Guts on a television show when that's an easy big pay-per-view blow-off match. And they're just going to do it on free TV next week. But like you said, like these 4 shows, you kind of got to hit a home run every single time. And it's okay. Like it's okay if it's just like a good show, that's fine. But when you're doing like great television every week, and then you're asking people to just pay for good shows, it gets tougher and tougher to sell. The thing is, I think they'll continue to sell just their usual.
I agree. Yes. Yeah. I think in terms of this is very much an inside the bubble within that bubble where we're talking critically here. I think they're a victim of their own success. And what I mean by that is Impact does 4 pay-per-views a year, right? Like traditional pay-per-view. I know they do specials, but they do Hard to Kill, Slammiversary, Rebellion, Bound for Glory, right?
Yeah.
If an Impact pay-per-view is a 7 out of 10, I think most people leave that saying that was a good night for Impact. Because their television does not feature these kind of blow-away bouts, as you pointed out. It's like you're setting your own standard here. When an Orange Cassidy Penta match is somewhere in the first hour, and it's like a standout thriller, it's difficult. So I think you're spot on with that. Now, all this said to not undercut what the main point of this is, which is that Dynamite has been, like for me, since winter is coming, we're almost like 6 months now, almost around there. I think it's been one of the best TV show runs that I've seen as a fan. Honestly, I've seen. I think to the point where one day, hopefully while wrestling's still going good and that promotion's still going good, but we don't know, people will fondly look back on the Daily's Place shows during a pandemic. And that is a feat, let me tell you. That's impressive. In the same way that I sometimes talk about the great Disney shows WCW did that summer with NWO. You know, like it's been a great run. Next week feels like a huge one, blood and guts. For you as a fan, that go home segment, thumbs up, thumbs down, in the middle, like what are you thinking?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was Jericho's best promo of this entire little back and forth. I thought MJF did great. I thought everybody did well, honestly. You know, everybody played their roles perfectly. I thought everybody hit the right notes, and I'm excited for it. Like, that was a great promo. I'm glad it's not one match like had been said and everything. I'm glad they're putting more on this show, because I didn't know how they were going to get through, hey, we're just going to do one match. So I think it's going to make for a much better show, that it'll be matches building up to it. I really don't want to see like people go all out in these matches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I kind of just want them to be like nice little TV matches and make me clamor more for the blood and guts. I'm worried that like Cody and QT are going to go out there and try to murder each other because this is some type of like big feud for them, and Cody's going to get busted open and stuff. And like, I don't want any of that. Just go out there and just have nice little wrestling matches before this big match.
So a couple things. I think, and help me on this. So the matches are QT and Cody, as you just mentioned, King and Mox against Kenny and Nakazawa, and Britt, right? Is that it?
I believe so. I'll double check.
Okay, cool. So what's interesting about that is, in theory, I would say they've picked matches there that very much fit your ideal. Because while what you said about Cody and QT is true, in like thinking about it realistically, they should just have a sound television match, right? Like they should. QT is that guy. Cody's not someone that's going to like, unless he's in a mood to and wants to ruin things for people, he's going to have a steady match. Eddie and Mox are not going to do any dumb shit against Kenny and Nakazawa. Like, it's just not. They're just going to kick the shit out of dipshit, as Mox called him. Britt is in action, so that's a squash, you know?
The other match is number one contender tag team bout, SCU, Acclaimed, Jurassic Express, Varsity Blondes. That's a match where it could just go,
That will open, I think.
I think so too.
And then they'll bring it down a little bit. You know, they'll probably put Britt in between that match and QT and Cody, and then Eddie and Mox between, you know, so you'll have a kind of spacing. I think the one thing that makes me confident about Cody doing the right thing here and not trying to have a 4-star match is like, I don't think him and QT is the big match of this program, because I think the story they're telling, and listen, maybe I'm wrong here, maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but it really seems like even on the show, it's woven in the narrative that like QT kind of sucks. Like not sucks, but like he's kind of like, he's being lifted up and held afloat by these really talented guys that he's kind of helped and trained. Because if you look at the way they book these matches, like he stole the pin last night, right? Against Billy Gunn, he needed help. Agogo's just body shotting people. How great is the Agogo stuff? Like, it's tremendous.
Yes.
I think Cody's building to a match of Anthony Agogo where he beats him. Which is so good. And so Cody. I think this match is going to be like more of an angle than a match. But I hope I'm right and you're not correct in that they're just going to go and bleed everywhere. That would be very sad for me.
I hope you're right as well. Again, just and that was kind of my initial thought is, you know, maybe they just do a nice little short match, Cody wins, or they just do some type of big schmoz angle and it is what it is. And maybe they just don't even do the match. They typically don't like to do that, but maybe they do something like that. Again, I just don't want, and when I looked at the card and saw that 4-way tag team match, I was like, oh man, yeah, those guys are going to go out there and they're just going to do some wild shit. And it'll be different wild shit, which is at least good because you're not going to see too many like high spots in the blood and guts. There's a roof on the cage, so you're not going to get no big cage dive or anything like that. I think that's going to be just like a fight where guys are bleeding and they're just trying to kill each other. I mean, like 5 people in that promo said they were willing to die. They almost teased death for next week in that promo, to the point where when Jericho was like, you're going to have to make us submit, which is not happening, or you're going to have to kill us. Like, that's the only way to win. I'm like, somebody's just going to fucking die in this match next week. Like, they're just going to kill one of these people. And that's how this match is going to end. That's what I thought is going to happen. So I do think the tag team match will be different enough in that regard. But again, just go out there, do like nice little matches, save it for a different time where the focal point of the show is there is no focal point, which is most weeks on AEW. Next week, there is a very clear focal point and a very clear this match has to stand out above everything else.
Yeah, so let's talk about it a little bit. So you mentioned about the kind of, the stylistic thing. Just to be clear in the chat, guys, I'm not comparing the Cody to the Triple H. I'm aware that he's not like that bad. It's just, you know the kind of match we're talking about where he like, a go-go kicks a Chev and he rolls him up. You know what I'm talking about.
The Penta match, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Penta match.
Yeah. So here we go. There's kind of a clear point to me with the announcement or kind of the reveal woven into the promo there that this match is going to be submit or surrender, which is, for you and I as dogs, is like, that bodes well, right? Because that means the people that are the creative forces behind this match have something in mind similar to what you and I have in mind. Because listen, there is nothing wrong with NXT's War Games matches. They are great matches in terms of like objectively just looking at them in a vacuum. But they're not War Games matches as you and I think of, like, ladders and tables, and like War Games is supposed to be embodying exactly that: war, blood everywhere, punches. I think it needs 25 minutes of just hot action. And structurally, these are the simplest matches you can ever do.
Yeah.
Because they are basically 8 hot tags, right? All you have to do is knock out that first 5 minutes or whatever it is, make sure that hits. The rest, you just need to rely on Jake Hager doing a cool spine buster when he gets on there. Like, it's a simple match. The one big thing with the submit or surrender is, as much as we love it, it can be very hard to do in an epic, climactic fashion. Oftentimes in War Games matches, the ones that I even love, the submit or surrender thing results in those kind of, is it over? Spears quit? Like, you don't want that because people won't like it, I think, especially the modern fans. So I think stylistically, it's going to be really, really interesting. Are you confident in this match, or do you think it could be one of those ones where people just it doesn't fit what people want nowadays? What do you think?
I think not fitting for what people want nowadays is kind of the correct point of, we've become so used to the NXT style War Games where you got to have the big dive off the cage. You got to have the tables. You got to have the ladder. You got to do all this stuff. It doesn't seem like, again, there's going to be a roof on the cage. So you're not going to see that dive unless they're going to fight on top of the cage. Then I don't know. I think people are going to enjoy it, though. I really do. I think there's enough good workers in it. I think there's enough smart workers in it to where they're going to be able, because like you said, they're simple matches. I think the biggest issue is is Inner Circle babyface enough for this to like completely work? Rob Wilkins says, I like the FTW title idea. Big fan of Face Jericho. And I don't know, Chris Jericho comes out, you're going to get this big cheer. Jake Hager is going to come out and people are going to go crazy for Jake Hager to do all this stuff. Guevara, I think he can play a good underdog face in peril, but he's also just kind of a douche. So I just don't know if they're quite babyface enough for this to get that pop when it needs to.
So that's an interesting point. I do think Santana and Ortiz are kind of
those two
steering the ship.
Yeah. Those two I have no doubts about, and especially last night when they're talking about their families and whatnot.
So are you for or against? Because I think this is an interesting kind of conversation. The babyface turn where you actually have the heel that now is a babyface kind of in an attempt to redeem themselves admit they were wrong before, which is what Jericho's done here, which is a very old school, play here. He's actually come out and said, we were being dickheads. We apologize. The Inner Circle's back different. Do you think that's helped or hurt the angle? And because to you, has it just made it seem contrived? I'm intrigued. For me, it's kind of worked, but I'm interested where you are on that whole approach.
But they didn't. They apologized to basically just Sammy. They apologized to Sammy of just being like, hey, we tried to get MJF in here. It didn't work. We're a family. Everything is good. Like, they were still dicks to everybody.
Right, but they had that, like, I haven't got the quote, but maybe someone in the chat will remember. But they had like a line of dialogue. Jericho had a couple lines where he was like, we need to do things differently, which was his way of saying, we on our baby faces, please cheer.
Yeah.
And I'm for it. I think the thing is, though, if you do that, it almost gives you an out to not have to actually change your personality much, because you basically just, wipe the clean slate. So that, I think Jericho is really big on the idea of different looks. Imagery being the kind of mark a new chapter with that, right? So you've seen how they're dressing different, their graphics are different. They had that wacky entrance last night and all that good stuff. I think it's interesting. Look, I think
that sucked to me.
Well, this is what I'm saying, but you can see that Jericho, like he said it on Austin's show, where to him, like when you start new, you turn or you come back, you have to do stuff differently. Now, whether you like it or not, I mean, like I think it's kind of whack, but he's clearly doing that.
Yeah.
But he hasn't really changed their personalities much beyond they're not feuding with good guys. So it's going to be polarized. Look, here's the thing, man. I've said this before. I think crowds like love that act. Like I've always loved it, always will. So I don't think it's a problem. But I get your point. For people seeing at home, your mileage may vary, definitely.
I think a live crowd, they're going to enjoy it because, I mean, that especially that crowd, like they typically eat up everything they do. Mm-hmm. And it's a shorter show. It's not like this is at the end of a 4-hour pay-per-view or anything. It's at the end of a Dynamite. They're going to be hot for it. The live crowd's going to enjoy it. I do wonder the fans watching at home, but I don't think it's going to like turn anybody off of where it's like, oh man, I'm just never going to watch this show again because I don't think it's going to do anything like that. I am interested in the finish though, because I think we're both like Pinnacle's winning this, right? It's tough to see them. Oh, you don't think so?
No, I don't think so. No, I think War Games is a babyface match, man. I know they're a new faction, but like, I know this guy gets enough shit. So Sean Spears to me is just screaming submit or surrender. Like,
yeah.
It just seems really obvious to me. But like, you're definitely in the consensus. Like most people seem to think, Pinnacle has to win their brand new faction. But to me, it's like heel factions and this match. I don't know. I feel like Chris sees this as their triumphant comeback. Like you got to win it. We'll see.
So I'm with you on that. I'm thinking, I guess I'm thinking definitely modern of like heel faction, new faction, first big match as a team. It's tough to see them like losing this match. But then I look at the babyface side and I'm like, nobody like really makes sense to be like, oh, I'm going to tap out. Nobody really makes sense. Oh, I'm going to surrender. Sammy's the one guy I can like kind of see doing it. And the other out is somebody just passes out. I don't know if they want to do that, but somebody does that. And I love this finish, and I'll always love this finish. And it's a finish you've referenced before with Moxley and Eddie and I Quit, of like, you hold someone hostage and force them to quit for you to save their brother. And I think, and that is certainly a babyface finish as well, to where it's like they were going to just kill Sammy if I didn't do it. And then you can almost possibly break somebody out. And like, you could get Santana and Ortiz out of this and be like, you should have fucking let me die. I was willing to die. Mm-hmm. You should have just let me die out of there. Like, you didn't have to save me. I don't need that.
Yeah, so Bill's Mafia put in the chat here, and to take your point and give it a perfect example, is Jericho surrendering for Sammy would make a lot of sense, right? Yeah. Because the whole angle has been this kind of, this thing with Sammy is like the emotional core of it. So that would make sense. And it'll kind of solidify that Jericho realizes how important Sammy is. That sounds nice. I'm for that. To me, it all really depends what you do next, because like I think they're doing Jericho and MJF again. So whoever's winning that, to me, is losing. Does that make sense? So like to me, if Pinnacle's winning in War Games, man, Jericho's beating MJF at the Fire Fest or whatever. Like, so it's kind of it's one of those things. Look, honestly, if the Pinnacle loses, I think there'll be a huge overreaction.
Yes, 100%.
Like, it's heels surrendering. You know, like that's kind of what they do. like I'm not saying it's great. I don't get me wrong, Jerry, but like they're based on the Horsemen. They lost like 30 of these things. It's gonna be fine. You know,
it's not only heels surrendering. It's one guy surrendering, and you tell the story of, all right, this is our weak link. Like then you go in that direction. And so when they eventually, we'll use Sean Spears as the example for no reason at all. When they eventually kick Sean Spears out of the group, it's like that dude was just weak. He was holding us back. Everyone was right. Like he surrendered. Now we're stronger than ever, and they continue to look like dicks. And then you can get a nice little one-week Sean Spears babyface run.
And you know the thing is that even if you don't want to, even if you know that Sean perception-wise is struggling a little bit, and you want to go elsewhere, you could have a guy like Dax open this thing, be pouring blood for 20 minutes, and submit, and it will do nothing to him. Like he submits Jungle Boy on TV. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, I think the real key, to be honest, and I know this is like a horribly modern outlook on it, but it's true. The match just needs to hit. And it needs to be good enough that not just old school dorks like you and I are like, yeah, that was cool. It needs to be as such that the television viewer that, you know, scrolls Twitter is actually like, yeah, this is exciting. It's going to be different. I think there's going to be people that are a bit like kind of culture shocked with it because I think it is going to be very different. Nonetheless, speaking of things that are different and weird, I was looking when this graphic came up on Dynamite of Moxley and Yuji Nagata, and I'm just like, you know, we spend so much time trying to figure out why we like Dynamite and why wrestling fans like it. And like some people say it's biased, and that's fine. Maybe it is. But like, it's just such a weird show, isn't it? You know? Like, it's just a bizarre. Yeah, yeah, exactly that. Obviously, too, doesn't hurt. But it's just such a strange show. It's like, for those of us that pay attention, Moxley did that promo about Yuji Nagata. Okay. But like,
it was so random. So random.
In the Dynamite universe, he's in the middle of this feud with the biggest heel faction. He's got Eddie Kingston's side, and then at the end of the show, it's like, oh yeah, he's going to face Yuji Nagata. And it's just, and I love that because every wrestling promotion that was mainstream or national before would feel the need to do this big explanation. And look, for better or worse, man, they don't give a shit. They're just like, if you're excited for this, you're excited for it. Like it's 2021. Google it. Like I gotta say, it's refreshing because they break every rule in the wrestling tradition book, don't they? Like it's just they're booking for us almost, you know. And JJ mentioned Nitro, and it's like one of the great things about Nitro was they would just literally just fling matches at you. It'd be like the second hour of a 3-hour show. It'd be like, here comes random cruiserweight against New Japan star for no reason, 6 minutes. But this is different, where it's like, I know people dunk on the idea they're booking for us. I get that, but you must say it does reward your kind of attention when just randomly you're like, oh, we're going to just get a Yuji Nagata match. It's cool. It's a cool, wacky thing that I'll probably forget in a month, but I'll always like, I'll be happy for the match, you know? So stuff like that. We analyze this thing so much. Sometimes, man, Dynamite's just weird. And that's what's cool about it. It's different, you know?
Stuff just happens on Dynamite. And
exactly. Stuff just happens.
Yeah, like a lot of it makes sense. Some stuff is just like, it just happens. You know, if you watch AEW and you watch nothing else but AEW, you're not gonna know who Yuji Nagata is. You're not gonna. You'll be like, what? Why is Moxley in this middle of this feud with Kenny Omega, and then facing some guy named Yuji Nagata? You're just not gonna know this stuff. But for people like us who kind of follow everything, and I think most AEW fans do kind of, especially the New Japan stuff, like they probably follow that. They know who Nagata is and everything. But yeah, like that's why I do like Dynamite so much, besides the fact that Tony Khan keeps them checks coming, is because it always just feels fresh, you know? Like, dude, you didn't watch Raw this week, did you?
No.
I didn't watch Raw this week, all right? Apparently Braun Strowman had like 5 matches on the show. Like, you don't need 5 Braun Strowman matches. I don't think it was quite 5. It was 3. I'm sorry.
Just 3, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need 3 Braun Strowman matches on the show. Okay. Like you just don't. Like on AEW, and maybe this turns off some fans, but like you're not even going to get 3 segments from the same guy. Not just 3 matches. Like you're not going to see 3 people you might see like Omega did what? He did the limo segment, and then he did the in-ring segment, and that was it, right?
Mhm.
Like these guys just aren't in multiple segments. They're in 2 at the most, a video and a match or something like that. And that's all you're going to see of them. And you just get fresh matches each week. You don't see a lot of rematches in AEW. You don't see a lot of the same combinations that you see all the time on these WWE shows. It's like WWE, you're just gonna watch the same thing you just watched last week.
Right. I mean, from what I can gather, quite literally as of late. But just 2 points on that. So that the first thing is, I think it's been really cool kind of retraining the idea that, like, while a lot of the audience won't know who Yuji Nagata is, I think it's kind of increasingly clear, like, that's not a negative necessarily. Does that make sense? Like, so, like, okay, look, it's John Moxley he's wrestling. You know, he's not wrestling me. It's like the audience, if you watch, like, you care about, you care about John Moxley. It doesn't, like, you don't have to kind of beat people over the head. Like, if they see his match and they like his match, like, if there is such a thing as a casual fan, Jeremy, they certainly aren't seeing a guy I don't know and being like, well, I hate this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, it just isn't that way. Like, I saw someone tweet, I think it might be Voice Wrestling, but they were talking about how, like, the biggest thing is the MCU, right? And let me tell you, folks, I'm a casual fan. The amount of people that show up in these programs and film, I don't know who they are. I don't walk out the cinema. Okay, I did this with there was a character that showed up in that Falcon show. I did not just turn it off. I don't understand. I just wait. It's fine. It'll be fine. I promise it'll be fine. Could they do like a detailed thing about him the night of? So I mentioned in chat, like, yes, they could. It'd be cool, 100%. But what I'm saying is, beyond the guy, just in like general, there is something to be said for this idea that it's like, if you know, you know, as Push once said. If you know, you know, right? Strong. I'm out of control now. But I do want to say there's one other thing. If you don't enjoy Drew McIntyre, Raw is not particularly fun. If you don't enjoy Roman Reigns, we got a fight, but SmackDown is not particularly fun. The beauty of Dynamite is what some may deem weakness, which is that Kenny doesn't feel like a level above the rest. We've spoke about this. We think this is a problem sometimes. I still think there's times where it would be better if they had a real core centerpiece. At the same time, though, man, like, I'm not really like a big Omega guy, and him being champ doesn't limit my enjoyment of the show at all because it's spread, right? The spotlight is everywhere. Someone I like is going to be featured prominently. It's such a different approach, man. So different.
Darby Allin feels like the biggest star in the company right now. He's main eventing every single week, having really good matches. So like he feels like he's the top guy on Dynamite right now. I do think they will do a good job of like introducing Nagata, whether it's through a video package. I imagine that's about the only way they're gonna do it. Whether it's through like a YouTube video, like they do their little Road to series. They can do something like that. I think they'll have some type of video package next week because the match is in 2 weeks, right? So I think they'll have some type of video on him next week. They'll, like you said, like if you're watching and you don't know who Nagata is, you're not just gonna tune out just because John Moxley's facing this guy. I'm not gonna watch it. Like
exactly, yeah.
Like you're probably a John Moxley fan. You're probably like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch this John Moxley match. John Moxley's gonna cut a promo next week. He's going to tell you how badass Yuji Nagata is. He's going to tell you how he's always wanted to step in this ring with this man and slap the shit out of him. And you're like, yeah, I want to see John Moxley and this man try to kill each other next week. And it's going to be fine. Yeah,
but we spoke about this before with like, there are certain things in the wrestling playbook that like, this is the way you do things. And it's like, would the AEW audience be more fired up for Yuji Nagata if he came in and did like a squash match? Like, no, not at all. They would rather him have his best match possible with Moxley the first time they see him. It's different. It's changed. And I think whether you like AEW or dislike it, you're entitled to your opinion. There are definitely lessons to be learned from the show, though. You know, there is, because they do things differently in a way that I think has been positive. Now, you mentioned Raw and Braun wrestling 3 times. Now, I know that they are short-handed right now, right? There's some guys that aren't available and all that good stuff. So that's obviously a bummer. However, I was scrolling through these rosters, okay? I think the brand split is done. This is my take, okay? I think the brand split will cease to exist by the end of this year.
That's fair.
Your thoughts?
That's very fair.
I look at these rosters are not even big.
Dude, the thing is they have all of this talent.
Yes.
And they just decide, Joseph. They had Braun wrestle 3 matches. Okay, for some reason. I don't know
Yeah.
Do you know who was on main event?
It was the Ali and the Ricochet.
You're telling me they couldn't just throw them out there for a 20-minute cold match to fill time, and people will just go crazy for Ali and Ricochet, and then maybe they can just get like a weekly spot on the show so you don't have 20 Braun Strowman segments? Like, maybe.
Here's the thing, okay? If you look at the Raw roster, I would say the following names are like, if they're not on the show, you would be surprised. Obviously, circumstance aside, AJ Styles is one of those, right? Like, he's someone you expect to be on the show. I understand stuff's going on. I don't know what it is, but clearly it's,
He's partying in Nigeria.
Right. You got AJ, you got Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, The Fiend Bray Wyatt, I guess. Good luck. Priest, Drew, Miz. Like, dude, this is a small crew they've got, and it's self-inflicted for the reasons you point out. Because beyond even, let's say you think Ricochet and Ali suck, I don't know why, but you do. Okay. There's so many people. Have you seen the difference in size of the NXT Women's Division to Raw and SmackDown? I have no clue why this is the case. SmackDown has like 9 women. I don't know what's going on, but it is puzzling to me. When I look at this pool, it's like, this doesn't even feel like a crew that needs to be split up at this point. You're hardly using any of these people. It's bizarre, Jeremy. I really don't understand their approach to the whole thing. I must say, it's odd.
I think you can just say that about anything. I don't understand their approach to this whole thing, whether it be roster, whether it be creative, whether it be how they put anything together. Like,
it's like they make it harder for themselves, you know? Like, I believe the ideology of they don't want guys to be over the on, and like I get that, but there's a difference between capping a guy at mid card and just like, to your point, getting nothing out of them. Like, to not even get a good television match out of Ricochet is insane. I get he has his issues, and apparently they're much broader than I realized, but he's still a great TV match guy. I have nothing else. Like, surely you can get that out of him. It's such a strange time where the talent pool has never been better. But if you watch Raw and SmackDown, you'd think they're on their last legs. It's the strangest shit. You got people that are called up, sitting at home, waiting to do something. Just inexplicable. Don't get it. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I know that was a rant.
They suspended Charlotte Flair indefinitely. She didn't miss a show. She was just back the following show.
Yeah. Well, by the way, let's talk about that quickly.
She has very nice teeth.
Is Rhea Ripley a heel or a babyface?
I don't know. Why was she a babyface now? Why? What was this talk that she's a babyface?
Well, because she was the way that she was presented when Charlotte came back was that she was more heated with Charlotte, the Queen Charlotte Flair as a heel. And she was like laughing at her, you know, kind of doing all that bullshit. It seemed to me that she could be a babyface, but she's not. She's a heel. So then your babyface is Asuka.
Let me look at Rhea Ripley's last tweet, and that will tell me she's a babyface or heel.
Please, this is ridiculous talk here, Jeremy. Okay. Now look. What was the rating for AEW? I'm seeing a lot of talk about this.
889. The demo was fine. They were up against the presidential speech, so
also, like, on paper was a pretty weak. Like, as much as it was a really good show, it wasn't like a marquee matchup. So that makes sense.
She praised Tyson Kidd. She retweeted. She's taking pictures of her dog. She's retweeting our buddy Tom. Yeah, she's
babyface.
She's
okay.
Total babyface tweets.
But just to make my point, she's a heel, okay? So you got her and Charlotte as heels, but that's clearly the match to make. But you haven't defined Rhea as a babyface. So you got them stuck. Asuka's your sole babyface. So you've kind of like, you've beat a lot, and she just kind of feels, I don't really know what's going on with Charlotte. With Asuka, sorry. Alexa is like in the shadows. Now listen, Jeremy, I think she's a heel. Okay? Pretty convinced that Alexa Bliss is a heel. It's kind of, I don't know what. You know, a few weeks ago, I just said Raw is broken, and I know it sounds hypocritical because I don't watch, but like, that's just the truth, right? It's just broke. It needs a whole facelift. Nonetheless, I do have one closing kind of discussion here. NXT. Okay, so you cover NXT. Now, I watched NXT this week. I think AEW has been basically the same show since the war ended. The imaginary war. Okay.
Yeah.
It was definitely imaginary, if you didn't know. I mean, since then, NXT has been, from what I can gather, praised for slowing down.
Yes.
For you agree with that. Now, here's the thing. What do you think of it, the way it's trending? Is it slowing down for the better, or is it just sort of, is it still struggling with that issue of it's just a show? I want your take on this.
It's still struggling with it. Just feels like a show, but now I don't think, and this is a bad example to give because next week they're doing a street fight and a no DQ falls count anywhere match or something. Basically doing like 2 street fights next week, and then the week after they're doing the title match on TV, which is fine. All this is fine. I don't know why you need to do 2 street fights on the same show. I do think it's slowing down. I do think it's a little bit more focused. It still sometimes does just feel like this is a show, but I think that is almost a casualty of the war of, because they were up against AEW for so long, that's just how it felt. And I also think that, like, all right, O'Reilly came back last week. Cole just kind of did like a sit-down interview this week. Balor's going to be back next week. I mean, those are kind of their 3 biggest guys, right? Cole, O'Reilly, and Balor. And it seems like next week, all of them are going to be kind of like back in the mix. And so from there, I'm more interested to see how it plays out when you got your de facto top 3.
That's a good point, because so this week I had a lot of takes, but my conclusion was it wasn't a fair week to judge them. It very much felt like a steady week of television, which is natural. You need to have those. You know, you had the 6-man main event, which I liked. Now, the thing is, I was surprised by how much comedy was on the show. And this is not a criticism, because I've found NXT to be very dry, and it was certainly not that. After the first match, which I believe was Dakota Kai and Mercedes Martinez.
Yes.
I believe I noted, and I have now since lost these notes, but I tweeted some of it. There was 4 straight comedy segments. Did you know that? 4. I believe you had the Cameron Grimes. You had that Ember Shotzi promo. There's a couple of others, I forget.
Tommaso Ciampa and
I wasn't even counting that. That was bad. Drake Maverick and Killian Dane did like they're like a sticky tag team, right? I still think that while it's I can clearly see why it's the most palatable of the WWE shows, because it isn't one that's going to like whack you over the head in sort of, oh shit, what they doing? Braun's wrestled 3 times. It isn't that, is it? Like, it's fine. It's still, for me, and it's maybe I'm being too quick on the trigger, I'm going to keep watching. It does feel like they lack an identity to me in terms of style. It just feels a little bit kind of jumbled to me. I don't know. What do you think?
They lack an identity, Joseph? Do you not see, like, the lights are down?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have Triple H's personalities all over the show. You know, and they're the heavy metal, or whatever he said, of professional wrestling, which was
they got the
ultimate
cool
self-help.
logo with the skull and the wings. And
right, I get it, but it's just creatively, it feels one of the best things about NXT at its peak. And I understand it's hard to compare because it was a 1-hour show, and you do need to change things as you go 2 hours. You need to give more variety because obviously it's double. So I get that. But one of the great things about the 1 hour NXT was it really did feel like a cohesive wrestling product. Like, everything made sense in that world they were creating out of Full Sail. You know? A really good show. Perhaps my favorite weekly show since I've been watching, closely. So I think there's something said for that. And you're not about to recapture it. But now it just feels like, 101 like square pegs and round holes. Like I don't know. It doesn't click for me. But you're right. Big Star's back next week. Maybe that'll change things.
I'm going to continue to give them time because I do think these last 3 weeks, and again, maybe it's just because they're not going to be compared to AEW anymore, because that was naturally just going to happen in the imaginary war when you're running head to head against the other company. People are going to compare your show to the competitor's show, and now that you're on your own night, you can just kind of stand and deliver on your own. And so it does feel more focused. It does feel like things have slowed down, and I'll just continue to let it play out. Joseph, I think that's the lesson here, is you should just let it play out. It's only been 3 weeks. They're getting Balor back next week. I mean, he's their biggest star. I don't think there's any question about that. Like, we're not carrying Cross, guys. Even he hasn't been on TV past the one promo. He had a little confrontation with O'Reilly. It wasn't on the show at all this past week. So I think next week they're loading up. Next week they got the big title match, the women's title match for the 4th time, because we need that. They got the Ruff and Scott blow off match, and then Balor's back, and I think we're going to see more Cole, O'Reilly, and probably Cross as well.
So you meant but firstly, I pointed out that I really found it confusing. They opted to do a street fight and a Falls Count. I didn't understand that.
I didn't.
But I will say, I think both matches will be good. I really liked the little vignette they shot with Swerve Scott. I thought it was a weird encapsulation of what's good and bad about the brand, in the sense that it felt like a Boresh thing. Firstly, it was really cool in the sense it gave him an identity and it made him different than just cutting those lame interviewers here. I'm looking directly at them, like them shitty promos they cut. It was good. I liked it. It gave him personality and identity. But it also was one of them cases where they just couldn't. Sometimes you could just keep the camera still, they're cutting, they're on either side of him. Sometimes it feels very busy, that show, presentation wise in particular. There's a lot going on, isn't there? You've got the screens, you've also got people there. You've got Vic Joseph shouting. Sometimes Beth wasn't there when I used to watch, very confusing. It's very energetic would be a compliment, so I don't want to use that. It just feels a little bit kind of muddled. I don't know. It's a weird one.
The camera cut, it's still a WWE production at the end of the day. And that is the troublesome thing. Because that shooting star press looked amazing, but it's close up, far away. It's you just missed the rotation right there by just doing this camera cut for some reason. Can you not just shoot it from the far angle and so we can just see the whole thing?
I don't know. I never get that stuff, but I will say I've seen a lot of criticism. I actually really like that thing they're doing with Tony Storm. I actually really do think it's a smart way to, because the thing is, with the NXT women especially, and with the dudes at this point, they have so many people that are just waiting to get on television. And it isn't as easy as just do some job matches and then we'll give you a full entrance and gimmick, because that's the way they do. Everyone has to have their entrance, right? It's really nice to just have someone just shock the world. She won. It protected Tony with the finish. Speaking of the entrances, okay, I have to do this. I think Bronson Reed's really good. Have you seen his entrance?
No, I don't pay attention.
So they do this thing. I'm going to explain this the best I can, okay? I've not seen any discussion of this. So they have a graphic of him like this. That's what this sort of face, right? It's and then it cuts. I'm not making this up. No one talks about it. It cuts to the real Bronson Reed doing the same face. And I just thought, why? I'm sorry, guys, I haven't got a big point on this. I just watched it and sort of went, well, why would you have him do that? Please do. You could look. Maybe I'm wrong about this, Jeremy, but I found it puzzling. He feels like someone that could just walk out and kick ass, I feel like not everyone needs a presentation and a graphics.
Yes, everyone does need a presentation and a graphic.
Apparently so, man. Yeah, apparently.
That's the gimmick. Okay, here
we go.
Who came out first, Theory or Reed? Do you remember?
It was Reed first.
Okay. All right, here we go. We have Mackenzie Mitchell. Here comes Everrise. And she doesn't want to talk to them. I'm just rewatching NXT here on the
Super
show.
chat here from Tax who says he's Godzilla. They have the sirens in his entrance.
Oh.
So I don't really have, I tried
Turn
to.
the sound on.
The old audio quickly goes for me when I watch NXT.
No, the way comes out first because people are
I'm
booing.
sorry.
Oh man,
I'm sorry. This is terrible. I've misremembered NXT television, folks.
Thompson's already in the ring.
Yeah, he came out. I'm telling you, he was first because he walked past Gargano. Go back, Jeremy. Go back.
Oh my god, he
Our
just
friend
walked
True.
past Gargano.
Our friend True Heat says, "I love the haircut, looking like Bubba Ray in 2002."
Oh, okay, here we go. He's walking past Gargano. So they did Reed's entrance. Okay, here we go. And then they did backstage interviews.
Sure did.
Okay.
Great interviews they were too. This is tense. Am I wrong? Is that not the funniest shit ever? Why does no one find this funny? He's just it cuts to him like it's brilliant. I really like him. I think he's a talented guy. I would let him just walk out and kick the shit out of people, but I'm merely an old-fashioned loser, so I don't know. Yeah. It's the funniest, right? That's perfect. There you go. Now, I'm just gonna hold it until. Now, look. Nonetheless, I think he's very good. Imagine how hard it is for him. He's trying to get ready for a match, and he has to get ready to do that face. But NXT, I thought was a good show. Honestly, I've always said I think the world of that roster. I like Ray says we missed his super chat. He says, "Do you think it being on TV will impact how much blood and violence?" I do not. I mean, Britt and Thunder Rosa aired, so I think they're cool in that regard.
Sorry, Ray.
Yes, we apologize. NXT roster's great. I thought the TV this week was fine. I'll give it another week because I feel like this was just like a bridge. But yes, I think that's it, pal. I think we've took our victory lap. Should we do that one more time? Should we close on a victory lap?
You just want me to play the whole video over again?
No. Don't go away. Okay. I do think you should upload it to Scraps, but no. I think we should just put a ball. Spoke about wrestling long enough. I think this is just how good we are again. We are really good.
Do you want to say that for Twitch? I mean, the Twitch is like the pals. We can do it here. Screw it. All right. So, what are we doing? Just telling how great we are?
Just talking about how fucking great we are. Let's do it, okay?
These self-indulgent assholes.
Yeah, let's just quickly wrap this up, okay? This whole thing began because Bob was without a topic that 1 week, and Sean was like, he had an idea to do something, and Bob was like, okay, I haven't really got anything anyway, so you guys, and we come up with this angle, and each week we would add a layer. But the bit I need to put Jeremy over foremost is the level of planning that we knew Bob could do that one particular week without being interrupted by work, right? So then we sit there. Yeah, we sit there and we're like, we need to somehow get this thing out through 6 weeks. So we haven't got any idea what we're doing on week 3 and 4. And Bob, Jeremy and I just sat there like on Skype, like, well, we could do 1 week where you replay the first one. We could do another week where you come off after 3 seconds. And we just kept weaving this thing. And then when I told Jeremy that I was doing the hair spot, it was like, we're golden, It was tremendous the way it developed. It was incredible.
We legitimately put so much planning into this because, like you said, O'Neal did the first one and it was fantastic. And then the second one, by the way, we ended up making it work with the stupid Fiend bits that I was doing, just as comedy bits, because after the second week, that's when I did the SERP thing. And so it was like, oh, O'Neal caused all of that. And so it ended up working out really well with all of that. But yeah, O'Neal's like, I don't have a topic this week. And Sean, he just tweeted, like, I got Discovery Plus. I was like, do you want to review it? He's like, yeah, sure. I was like, all right, well, here we go. And then it just kept becoming a thing. And I kept messaging Sean. I was like, hey, can you like put O'Neal's face over your face and send something in? So yeah, I was like, can you be on the show live? Do you have a wacky hat to wear to do that? He's like, yeah, I can do that. and it just became a full-on thing. And dude, there was legitimately Young Rock premiered like February 14th or some shit. Like that was the first week O'Neal was on the show. We're at April 29th, and we've like officially wrapped this thing up.
And let me also say, I said this on Twitch, but you know, it's the truth. Never forget that before this angle ever started, I transitioned us into a 25-minute conversation about long-term planning and its importance in wrestling, knowing what was about to begin, and away we went from there. And that is like the ultimate victory lap before we've even won, you know? Like I never would mention that if it went badly, but inexplicably it went well. But the big thing, and Bob will not mind me saying this, the big thing was when I was starting to book this stuff, like I was saying what I was thinking. And I was like, and Jeremy's going, yeah, and then this. And I'm like, and then he kicks me off the show. I'm like, can Jeremy do a week with just Bob O'Neal?
You weren't going to say that, though. You were going to say it because we knew O'Neal had that week off. And so we were like, oh, yeah, well, that's when we can get kind of like the most out of him, more than just a segment. And you're like, that's when we can wrap it up. And I said, I think I can do an hour with him. And you're like, I didn't want to say it, but okay.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
I fought him. I was like, I can't ask Jeremy to do that shit. That's hard. It happened. It happened. He did a good job too. Bob did a great promo, and I know he was very nervous about the promo. He did a great promo, and then he did a great show last week. I watched the whole show. It was very good. So, yes.
He was supposed to be on this week with his dogs. He said he could not make it. He said hopefully next week he'll be back with his dogs. O'Neal just taking a week off already. What a loser.
He's part of the team, man. Listen, Bob O'Neal. Do you know that I actually got shoot heat from my brother, who called me up the day after the third one of these and was like, what the fuck? Why are you just, I want the Bob O'Neal corner free. Like, why are you doing it? And I was like, you're going to get a lot more Bob. Eventually, you're going to get more Bob than you could ever want in a lifetime. So there you go.
I had shoot DMs last week of people being like, is O'Neal really part of this show? I might not watch ever again. Very sad.
Yeah, I got people. Now, here's the thing, and this is the ultimate self-dunk on myself. I am very much against wrestlers having to use social media to get their angles over, and I immediately turn to social media to get my angle over, which shows you the level of hypocrisy that I'm into. But there you go. It's been fun.
You went completely dark. You skipped out on the Wrestling Daily show the other week. Like,
that's why I skipped it, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? So I changed my bio. I think I did Time to be Gene or something. And Gene so people know I've been watching Better Call Saul. I mentioned it on Twitch. That's the name that he gets when he changes his life completely. You know, when he leaves and ups and, spoiler alert, he ups and leaves and he gets a new name. So I was like that layered where I was planting seeds for people to think that I was just actually done and moved on. Levels, bro, levels.
They're really, if you go back and like look at certain tweets, certain shows, like the different just like Easter eggs we've dropped in and whatnot, they're all there. They're all there.
It's a shame, to be honest, because no one in their right mind would rewatch professional wrestling shows.
Definitely not.
If you're ever in somehow left in a situation where you have nothing else to do and you want to rewatch, there are things in there, man. I don't know where they are because I scattered them across about 100 hours of audio, but Jeremy and I, we had a lot of little hints in there. It was a thing. It was very good.
I do have to say thank you to Luther and Serpentico for sending in the video. I messaged them and I messaged Luther and I was just like, hey, I want to hang like a literal banner for this thing because I think it's like we watch AEW, we see the banner that they just for their award and it's so pro wrestling. It's so pro wrestling. It's so basketball and like we loved it. And I was like, I want to do this bit where I just like hang a banner. Can you like film something where it's like, hey, the distraction wins this award type deal. So I can just hang this banner. And he's like, yeah, I'll send you something. He films this and oh my God, Joseph, a late run-in with the dogs.
Uh-oh.
No.
The other one's outside. I didn't even plug my mic in or anything, but you guys were talking about him, so I wanted to come on, say hi.
Hi. The true star of this show.
Tremendous.
See, man, you bring in the dog, it gets better.
Wow. There he is, the great man. The greatest heel in professional wrestling today. The guy in this business. Take that, Matt Striker. That's the guy.
Oh man.
I did think that, Jeremy, when I heard Matt Striker say he's like, Kenny's the guy, it's not Roosh, it's not Fatu. He goes, it's not even Bobby. I was like, whoa, why is Bob O'Neill getting strays? What the fuck? But apparently it was Lashley or some other guy. I don't know. But yeah, Bob O'Neill, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend.
It's definitely Bob O'Neill. O'Neill, legitimately, thank you for taking part in this whole nonsense. Yeah, I do have to say thank you to Luther and Serpentico because they filmed something much longer than I thought they were going to film. The Coke really popped me when Serpentico pulled out the Coke can. I was dying at that. All right, everybody. We'll be on Twitch. O'Neill, you want to plug anything? You want to plug your Bulls who are apparently trash?
Yeah, they're not good anymore. Zach Levine's hurt. So
anymore, like they were.
Well, they make this trade for Nikola Vucevic, and it's looking good. And now they're not going to have a top 10 pick or whatever unless they start doing really bad. But they lost to the Knicks. You can't lose to the Knicks.
The Knicks are good this year.
Yeah,
the Knicks are like actually good this year. Come on now. Let's not throw salt on the Knicks here.
No, that's it though. I think I'll be back next week on here, maybe if I can figure out something to talk about. This probably doesn't sound good right now because I don't have the mic plugged in.
That's all right. We're used to bad audio every week on this show. All right, O'Neill. We're going to do O'Neill's Corner 3 is going to live. All right, everybody. I didn't make that graphic and that for nothing. Okay. A lot of time and effort went into that. O'Neill's Corner 3 will live. Get out of here, O'Neill.
I think the Corner 3 should actually be like, neither of us ever want to watch Raw again. No. Bob should just do SmackDown and Raw, bro. Like Raw especially.
Yeah, that's fine.
He likes that stuff, apparently.
Apparently. I don't know why. We'll be on Twitch. We'll be on Twitch here shortly. I don't know what we're talking about on Twitch. We're just patting ourselves on the back some more.
Pusha T. Other things that I've referenced fleeting here on this show. I just talk about them in full.
We'll do a Pusha T and Jadakiss conversation.
We'll do one of those, not the other.
We'll be on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. Guys, thank you for sticking with us through this whole nonsense. I don't know why. No idea why. But thank you guys. And we're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. Follow Joseph. You can follow myself. The Twitter handles have been there the entire time. You guys know where to find us in the gym every day, getting up shots. Talk to y'all later.